of Ravensbrook, there stood a charming little antique shop called Timeless Treasures. The shop was filled with relics of the past, each with its own story, but none as sinister as the one lurking in the dusty corner behind a glass cabinet. Mara, a local history teacher with a penchant for collecting vintage items, often visited the shop. She found solace in the quiet, musty aisles filled with trinkets from bygone eras. One rainy afternoon, as she browsed through the shelves, her eyes fell upon a peculiar puppet. It was carved from dark, aged wood, with horns protruding from its forehead, red eyes that seemed to glow, and a sinister grin etched into its face. A small brass plaque at its base read, Diablo. Intrigued, Mara asked the shopkeeper, Mr. Whitley, about the puppet. He seemed hesitant but eventually recounted the puppet's grim legend. They say it was crafted by a sorcerer centuries ago, imbued with dark magic. It's been passed down through generations, leaving a trail of misfortune and death. Some believe the puppet is cursed, possessed by a malevolent spirit. Mara, skeptical of such superstitions, decided to purchase the puppet. She brought it home and placed it in her study, among her other collectibles. That night, as the wind howled outside, Mara sat in her study grading papers. She glanced at the puppet occasionally, its lifelike eyes seeming to follow her every move. Hours passed, and the house grew silent. As Mara prepared for bed, she heard a faint whisper. She froze, straining to hear more. The whispering grew louder, more insistent, and seemed to emanate from the study. Heart pounding, she crept back to the room and saw the puppet, Diablo, now positioned differently than she had left it. Convinced it was her imagination, Mara shook off the eerie feeling and returned to her bedroom. She locked the door, hoping for a peaceful night's sleep. But as the clock struck midnight, a chilling, raspy voice echoed through the room. Mara. Terrified, she sat up and saw the silhouette of the puppet at the foot of her bed. It moved with unnatural grace, its red eyes glowing in the darkness. Mara tried to scream, but no sound escaped her lips. The puppet leapt onto her chest, its tiny wooden hands wrapping around her throat. Mara struggled, thrashing against the malevolent toy. It hissed in delight, tightening its grip. She clawed at its wooden body, but her strength waned. As darkness closed in, the last thing Mara saw was Diablo's sinister grin. The next morning, Mr. Whitley opened his shop as usual. He glanced at the front page of the local newspaper. Local teacher found dead in mysterious circumstances. He sighed, knowing all too well the puppet's dreadful curse. Diablo had returned to the shop, perched back in its dusty corner, waiting for its next victim. And so, the devil puppet's tale of terror continued, a timeless treasure with an insatiable thirst for blood.